Us for the 1 o'clock work session for the Cleveland City Council today, Monday, August 24. We will begin our work session with a couple of special presentations and public comments. We are going to move item 1A for our colleague who passed the Honorable Sonny Hicks to the 3 o'clock is what I indicated to the family. But then that takes us immediately Councilman Dr. Dean Estes to the proclamation recognizing Rachel Lawler and Mike.
Dr. Yacea is here with her as well. I'm going to let Chief Bates handle all of this.
All right. Chief, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I always appreciate this council taking time out to recognize individuals that make significant contributions to our overall mission and goal. And today, again, we're going to attempt to do that. We would like to formally recognize two such outstanding professionals that have made contributions and commitments to the City of Cleveland and the Fire Department. Both have voluntarily provided their knowledge and expertise to the Fire Department at no cost, mind you. So in case you don't know, I want to make you aware that two of Lee University faculty, professors, I will say incredible individuals, have donated their time and knowledge and expertise to our well-being. So for nearly a decade, they focused on firefighter health and wellness, provided us with data and health recommendations for our safety. No particular order, but first, Dr. Mike Iosea, and I hope I got that name right. I think he's affectionately known as Dr. I by most of his students. He has done all sorts of work in analyzing our fitness data, inquiring about our firefighter wellness fitness initiatives, looked at our medical evaluations, studied the NFPA standards, performed physical assessments. I think they call that AXIS test. It's the range of motion.
Point balance.
Yeah. I'll let you explain all the science behind that. But his approach has been evidence-based, practical, and the recommendations he has tailored have been specific to the demands of the fire service. And then Dr. Rachel Lawler, she's the professor of athletic training. She has lended her expertise and focused on in-depth body composition analysis and made individual health recommendations to our personnel. Prior to their involvement, and in particular Dr. Lawler, we routinely experienced situations where firefighters required medical evaluations and further medical care. Since she began doing this, we have seen a notable improvement in the overall conditioning, preparedness, and injury prevention to our organization. Through their work, they have helped firefighters better understand their physical condition, provide them with the foundational building blocks needed to improve performance, resilience, and long-term health. They have a lasting and positive impact on our organization, both operationally and for our wellness. Their willingness to donate their time and expertise reflects a genuine commitment to the safety, performance, and success of our members and the organization as a whole. For these reasons and more, we would like to recognize Dr. Mike Iosea and Dr. Rachel Lawler and present them each with a civilian award. And at this time, if you guys would come forward, we want to give you a token of our appreciation. However y'all want to do this.
You want to go?
Yeah, come here, guys. Here, I'll stand in the middle. Y'all stand on each side. How's that? Council behind us, right? We have council.
All right.
If y'all want to scoot back to the dais.
Don't be afraid, Chief.
City council members in there.
We like you. Watch the mayor disappear.
Got you. I think.
1, 2, 3.
You're used to all this paparazzi.
Thank you, guys.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your help. Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, congratulations,
To my colleagues,
Councilman.
one thing I wish you could have seen was with the training of the new firemen that came on, the hydration and the rehydration and saving, in training that's what first hit my desk. And I just couldn't believe it. So I went and asked Chief about it. And particularly with the training of new recruits, the level that these two took them to was impressive, and a real service to the city.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Councilman.
If you will, just 1 second, we most recently had a firefighter get transported from the scene of a large commercial industrial fire, and you guys are all aware of it. Dr. Lawler was the first person to reach out to me and make recommendations for our rehab and our cooling of our, based on the work that they have done. They've been willing to share that with your fire department to, like I said, better protect and help our employees. So again, thank you guys. Thank you, Council.
I failed to recognize the president of Lee University has joined us, Dr. Phil Cook. Thank you, Mr. President, for being with us.
Thank you.
And Kettlebell. Kendra's here.
Thank you.
And the mayor has already failed. It's only 1:11. The city manager dutifully handed me a memo that I was supposed to read at the very beginning. But I was so excited about Lee University and their presentation that I skipped it. So I'll read this City Council Agenda Item Memorandum dated 24 August. Due to the request from community members, the city does not have the Lower River Road annexation on August 24th City Council agenda. Therefore, no action or discussion will be taken at this August 24 council meeting. The city has requested that the annexation applicants schedule and hold multiple community meetings on this annexation and give more information on their future plans. We understand that this should begin in early September of this year. If the annexation moves forward, the city will also hold community meetings before any votes are taken. The mayor and city council understand there is an information gap and the community needs to be better informed on these issues. If this annexation moves forward, we intend to have transparent, deliberate, and thoughtful conversations with the public in order to make the correct decisions for our community, submitted to the mayor and city council by Joe Fibus, the city manager. Any comments or questions on that from the council? All right. Back to regularly scheduled programming. I think our friends from the Thrive Regional Partnership, I see the president of the chamber, the vice president of Cleveland State, and friends from Thrive. I don't know who wants to begin. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce everyone to someone who, Christina Henderson, has joined our staff at the chamber. She's working with Doug Berry, and we refer to her as, for a long time we've been referring to that position as Little Doug or Future Doug, but she will roll into Doug's role once he retires in the next year or so.
How about Better Doug?
Better Doug, yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I love Doug.
To live up to.
I love Doug.
But she got here with our office in total. Our office is in total upheaval with repainting, carpeting, flooring, and she walked into that. So we did have a place ready for her. Your office was ready, but anyway, so I'm happy to introduce her. I'm also happy to introduce the president and CEO, Bridget Massengill from Thrive. when I got the job at the chamber 7 years ago, Gary Farley said, "Oh yeah, and by the way, you're going to be on the Thrive board." And I didn't know what that was at the time, but and I'm going to let Bridget tell you all about it. But I've been wanting to get her in front of you guys and ladies for a long time to let her share the work that Thrive's doing. It's a 16 county partnership, and I'm awfully proud to serve as the vice chairman of the board, and been on that board now again for 7 years. But if you would help me welcome Bridget Massagill.
Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you, Mayor Brooks, for having me here today. I want to thank City Manager Joe Fivas for having me here, and members of the City Council. I would be remiss if I didn't also thank John Squires for being with me today. We have a great delegation on our board that is represented by members of this community. The chairman of our board is Connie Vaughn, if you all know Connie, and she sends her regards that she couldn't get away from making Little Debbie cakes today to be here. She is a proud resident of Bradley County, and I know this community means a lot to her. So first, I just want to thank you for the opportunity, and I want to give you a little strategic lens into the work of your Thrive Regional Partnership. I'll turn this down as I know I'm short, and when I look down, you can't hear me. So we're here in the corner of the nation. I want to put that in perspective for all of us today. We're nestled in the heart of what we fondly call the Southern Appalachian foothills, with 15 other counties and 76 other incorporated cities and towns of this region. And without question, the secret is out. The infrastructure is doing what it was built to do. First, by the river, right out here at the Hiwassee, the Ocoee, the Tennessee rivers, they're all reminding us of why this community was formed, why people began to live here. Next, by rail. As we know in this region, the Chattanooga Choo Choo brand of the region reminds us, and now heavily by road, which our brand, Freight Alley, has now tagged us not just locally, regionally, but globally. Nature in our cities and our various forms of people, products, and data moving infrastructure are functioning in a way that it was created to do, to flourish. And today, we can't rest on our laurels. We actually don't have a choice, because ready or not, here comes accelerated growth. Thrive has been mobilizing around this reality for the past 10 years, actually a total of 14. This month it's been 14 years since we first began studying these numbers that you see on the screen. When you think about our 16 county region, and if each of you think about people that you know or you might work with, where they're traveling in and out or where they're recreating, this is our economy. In 2010, around the time we first grabbed those numbers, the 16 counties together represented over 1 million people. And we are projecting that to hit 1.4 million by 2055. Our organization continues to watch that population trend, and we are trending right on target. So you'll see that today the regional population is right around 1.127. And when you've got that current population, here's your regional population. You've also got our 3 major metropolitan statistical areas, of which Cleveland is one of those. And so when you think about that, 12% of the region's population is sitting right here in this metropolitan statistical area. The other that is just down in Georgia, you'll see is Dalton, where they sit with about 13% of the regional population. We see it in new housing growth. And so between 20 and 25, I thought you all would find this interesting. The housing pressure is certainly being evident, as you can see, over those course of years, 14,000 units coming into Hamilton County, but Bradley County is second. As you're thinking about our 16 counties across the region, 10% of the new housing units are being built right here in Bradley County. And I know if I were to speak to you all in this room, you know the demand for more is there. And it's important that people live in the community where they work. So new economic development investments are being added each year, amounting to $4.8 billion over that same period, and 11,000 jobs that have been created here in the region. Where are those chunks of jobs? Well, y'all, when we look at where the jobs are going, a combined 40% of our region's jobs are in freight-dependent sectors. When I reference us as Freight Alley, this is a key metric right here. You will see, it might be kind of hard to read, but what you're looking at is trade, transportation, and utilities up there at the top, so transportation. And then the second largest one is in the manufacturing sector. So when you put those together, they're freight dependent. And actually, if you were to go into the health field, you would know it's also freight dependent. You've got to get the supplies into the healthcare facilities. So much of our region is freight dependent. And our infrastructure feels it. When we look out on our roads throughout this region, you are primarily seeing a heavy volume of truck traffic. And as you go down the corridor, if you're heading to Nashville, you are going to see that completely filling up the 75 to 24 all the way up to Nashville. It's not just what we're seeing, it's what's being evident across this region. They're sharing the roads with a significant amount of freight. And when I say there, I say any of us that get in our car and we're driving to where we need to go. So according to the Freight Analysis Framework of the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, let's look down at this pinch point. When you're coming down into the peak, if you're trying to head to Nashville or you're trying to head down to Atlanta, and you're coming through that pinch point, the current truck volume on I-24 at Moccasin Bend is 5,060 daily truck trips, carrying more than 39 tons of freight annually. This blew past the projections that were made in 2012, where they were estimating 33 million by 2035. So if that gives you an idea that we underestimated the enormous amount of freight our region is handling, that's just where we are. And what we know today is that the projected volume is now saying that it's going to be an estimated 8,500 daily truck trips with more than 69 million tons of freight annually. So if you can imagine nearly doubling what you're already seeing out here on our roads, here's the sobering truth. Those projections are probably also very slim and not accurate because they were made in 2017. And anytime this year, I should have checked before I came because we're waiting on them, the FAF data is going to be updated and we will actually see what it is and how that is going. They collected it in 2022. So at the end of the day, when we think about the growth of our region, this quote has stuck with me for decades across my career, no matter where I'm at. Change is debilitating when it's done to you, but it's exhilarating when it's done by you. So Thrive is your partner in growth. We are here leveraging our public and our private partnerships. We have been growing national partnerships. We have been growing national partnerships both in public partnerships and in national philanthropic foundations as well. We are working to help bring resources here and building tools and frameworks to support solutions that we can build together alongside of our neighbors to help us all as we are dealing with the growth pressures of our region. So our mission is really simple. We're here to inspire responsible growth, and we do it through conversation, connection, and collaboration. This is why a regional approach matters. We have, you all know, sitting where you are, the beautiful watershed that connects us all. The watershed that comes through down into the Tennessee River and it travels down into Northeast Alabama. We have an incredible footprint of natural assets and cultural assets all throughout this region. And we have an incredible number of commuters that are traveling in and out of our counties day by day for their jobs. So I like to call that the workershed. So we're also sharing workershed back and forth throughout this region. So while we're making the most of our economic opportunities as a region, Thrive is facing that direct charge with what we are now able to partner with and update you on today, which is a partnership with a regional resource hub. This is something where the Appalachian Regional Commission has really gotten to know our organization over the years. And when there was an opportunity for them to come and work in raising economies, they had to have a multi-state place in order to do that. And we were directly reached out by ARC to say, you guys need to go for this because your region is doing amazing things and these resources can be deployed throughout. So they invested in us with a matching grant to help support the region in connecting communities to the resources that we've been building. So this was not a planning grant. This was a deepening the work grant. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. You can see on here, we call these our buckets. But when you're looking at these buckets of what we are doing, and this is something that we are doing right here for Cleveland, as well as this entire region, we're expanding a data-driven supply chain and logistics curriculum. It started right here at Cleveland State. And I'm not going to talk further about that because you're going to see that firsthand in a second. We're upskilling the region's workforce through digital skills training and access to essential technology. That's for those workers that are coming in from here from other parts of the region. We're helping local communities prepare for the increasing impacts of severe weather. That is something that any area in Cleveland, we have worked with so many communities now across the region. And if there are things where you've got to look at stormwater issues or you've got places that are really dealing with the massive flooding issues, let us know. We've got regional and national partners that help us with that. And then we're providing a single trusted data source to really help inform responsible community growth. And I want to tell you, this is how that came to be. And I'm going to play this for a second. Uh-oh. I think he's turning my volume up. There.
We assembled a wide variety of industry partners and higher education partners, including local companies and Georgia Tech, to ensure that it is up to date and built around modern execution of problems. You know, for example, the technology in the last 10 years has come so far in terms of data analysis. And one thing we heard from the industry in that time was that transportation and logistics and data visualization and analysis are becoming intertwined. We listened to that and built the curriculum accordingly. And we had Georgia Tech at the end of the day because they took a look at the curriculum and said it was absolutely exactly what students need. The Trip portal, by being available to students, really differentiates our curriculum.
As we came out of doing some work with the Federal Highway Administration and the Tennessee DOT, we understood that in order to better serve communities, we needed to increase their access to relevant data by creating a geospatial platform and a tool that is usable across user groups. We felt that we were able to increase the capacity of not only community leaders, transportation planners, but in partnership with folks like Cleveland State. We were able to support their logistics curriculum and student learning.
So the capstone project that the students took in the logistics and supply chain management, utilizing Thrive's Trip portal, allowed them to take actual real-time, real-life, scenarios in order to do their research projects. It's really enhanced their critical thinking and problem-solving skills, as well as really learning how to do true real-time research.
what gets me the most excited about students being in that platform and doing that work is young, bright minds creating and innovating solutions that maybe we haven't even thought of yet, but enabling that to happen while also strengthening the relationship with industry partners and creating that pathway and that pipeline for students to then move into this field. I'm like, that's our future, right? They're the ones that hopefully are going to fix it. The time to solve for these challenges was decades ago, and the next time is right now. And having students engaging in relevant data, relevant research that matters for this region is, I think, the only way that we see inspired responsible growth for decades to come.
I hope you can see that part. Every student secured a job that came through that first program at Cleveland State. They were asked to provide a solution to their industry that they were interning in that was based around the portal that we built in partnership with Cleveland State and Georgia Tech. And when they presented a solution that was all different, 10 different scenarios and uses of the portal, all of their employers said, you're hired. And so it was a great testament to the value of it. And now through our partnership with the Appalachian Regional Commission, this college right here is the shining beacon that is sharing that curriculum now across our region so that the workforce across our region can be prepared and can all be thinking about how they can utilize this portal that we have built right here in Cleveland to help solve some of our most tremendous challenges. So that's just one incredible example. And I want to point out, in order to get that funded, we had outside funding come in and we were able to kind of flow that through to Cleveland State in order to help develop that program, flow that down to Georgia Tech. So Thrive often serves as this funnel where we can help raise attention to projects and partners of significance and then be able to funnel it right down through into our region. And this is an example of how we're doing that now. And it's in the middle of our ARC program where we're building out the resource hub. We're making it user friendly. These new partners have come alongside of us to build that out. And then I want to show you very quickly what we're doing when we are also preserving what we love about our home communities. And I just want to remind you that back in 2017, Thrive came in and we helped to build the Thriving Communities program with your community members. And you might still see the back alley galleries that we were able to help, again, funnel dollars here directly into downtown Cleveland to infuse arts and culture. And then most recently, we have just provided another funding. So we were able to provide funding to communities that wanted to do basically civic experiment grants around things that were important to their community. And your city applied for this project funding. And let me tell you, there was well over $1 million of requests, and our organization only had 100,000, which was great. We were able to keep 10 to administer the program. So we had 90,000 to deploy out into the region. And let me just tell you, there was 1.4 million in requests. They were from 15 of our 16 counties. I believe it was 80 applications, something like that. And you all rose to the top with this project. And so we were really proud to be able to get that funding directly into your community, to be able to help infuse the arts and entertainment district that you're working on. That's so important as we're preserving what we love about our home communities and we're building communities that people want to live in. I want to show you this because when the appropriate time comes, I want you to know I'm coming with an ask, because we are building a resource for this region. We are a small, mighty team, but we are deploying dollars. And when you see 1.8 million, large majority of it is going out to communities to serve, to build platforms that you can utilize in your community. And what we are asking is each community across this region help us by putting some of that skin in the game to help support us with the match that's required for us to be able to attract that funding. This region is tremendous. The work we are doing is tremendous. And sometimes when you get, as you all know, when you get a match grant, that burden can also be tremendous when you are working across this footprint. And we want to keep delivering that out. I was showing this number because this is what we receive from a peer down at Dalton, who is a similar sized MSA. And I wanted to show that it's 1% of our budget that is going into this work. And so when that time comes, I am simply planting the seed that when we can get this kind of support across the region, we can really elevate the power of what some dollars can do to make a significant difference in the growth of your community, not just today, but for the generations that come. So with that, I want to thank you for your time, and I open up to any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Madam President. Any questions from the council? Great presentation. We're glad to have you back. And
Thank you so
thanks for your
much.
support of Cleveland.
Thank
And
you.
the grants and everything else that you do.
Thank you.
And give Miss Connie our regards and
I will.
tell her she's always welcome to bring Little Debbie's to us.
I will. She should have done that instead. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Metzger. All right. Our next presentation, item D, is presentation from the Homeless Action Committee. Councilwoman McKenzie, this is your committee that you serve on. Do you have any opening remarks?
I just want to say that
If you'll pull that microphone towards you so our
I
friends.
just want to say the past 6 months has been really nice working with the different organizations in Cleveland that work on homelessness. United Way, The Caring Place, Cleveland Housing Authority, Salvation Army. There's just so many. I can't even think to mention them all. But during this 6 months, I have realized that they work so good together. They connect, and they really have a heart for this issue in our community. And they've come up with some good solutions that they want to present today and explain. We did mention them back about 3 meetings ago, but we did not explain them. So today I've asked them to come and explain exactly what the program is. So I'll just ask Shauna and Corinne. Jennifer's gonna go first? Okay, Jennifer, the police department, to present their portion of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you for the council members for being on this board and allowing us to become part of it. It has been, I'm going to echo what she said, it's been fantastic to work with these organizations. We've worked with each of them in little pieces, but to have all of us at one table consistently and repeatedly has been fantastic. You're going to hear from the other parts of this project and this committee. I'm just going to present on our part with the police department. So you can see here, one of the biggest things is the concerns from the community. We get the concerns from the public. I teach many classes, safety, women's self-defense and such, and I always get the question about where's safe to go, what's this? And I have communication with those people, and I hear their thoughts about what they think of safe places are. And there's always some people that don't feel quite safe going some places or would rather go with somebody. And it might be because there are people hanging out, sleeping there, there's some encampments, things like that that just make them uneasy. Other things they see are those encampments near their residences through town. They can see them, and that worries them near their homes, not on the property. We get concerns from businesses as well. Businesses have those same concerns as they have clients that won't come to their business because of where they're located or because of maybe an encampment nearby it. And they're concerned because they're losing business and clients as well. They're also having to clean up their private property because of this. They're having electric outlets broken, trash left about, feces, needles, broken bottles, all that stuff has to go somewhere, and they're responsible for cleaning that up on their property. So they have concern with it as well. And then as far as patrol officers, you're going to see here, we took a 6-month study and just pulled calls in relations to people who were listed as homeless. All right, it's not all-inclusive and it's not perfect, but over the 6 months of the calls, there were 443 cases of people who were banned or trespassing during that 6 months. That could be a citation, that could be a ban moment, that could be an arrest. that's something we're dealing with. So in total, our officers spent over 1,300 hours dealing with individuals who were listed as homeless on various types of calls. Anything from the trespassing to disorderlies to thefts, things like this. And that accounts to about 3 hours per day that your officers are dealing with these types of calls. And many of these calls require 2 officers. And so that's just the straight up patrol as well throughout the days having to handle this individual problem. So when we have a problem, we want a solution. So the police department has already been doing a lot of these things, assist patrol, and to work with the businesses. But one of the things we brought up about the Homeless Action Committee is to work with the organizations, with the courts, with the city, and trying to create a bigger plan. Now, our part on it, we want to proactively engage community and focus on data-driven areas calls of concern. Now, obviously, those places will change. We have an amazing crime analyst and data team that will find those hot spots, and we can focus those efforts in one place as it changes. We want to work with local organizations and the charities and facilitate those resources. We know Cleveland is a very giving town. We want to help streamline that and give people the help they need and the way they need it. We want to partner with the businesses and the landowners to educate and enforce their property rights. We want to coordinate outreach with the resources to aid those who need it most. We see it a lot of times people want to help, but they don't know how to go about it or where to go. So if we can streamline that and work together, we can be way more effective. And finally, we want to work with the district attorney and the court system. It's not just going to be make an arrest and hope they don't come back. It's going to be, let's look at the data. Let's get some help in the system, in the courts before they're released. Let's start tracking things and seeing how we can help people get resources where they need to, maybe get some education, work with these organizations, but not just stop at the arrest. Continue on past that. So our recommendation is we propose 2 additional officers and equipment to be funded to allow a proactive approach to focusing on areas of high concentrations of individuals currently unhoused. We want to have a proactive community policing approach based on contacting, educating, resource facilitation, and enforcement. We want to focus on the recidivism, including narcotics, thefts, vandalism, and littering. Focusing on those crimes. We want to pair with working with the district attorney's office and the probation and parole office and working on record keeping, trying again to decrease that chronic recidivism. We already have a community relations unit that works with crisis intervention, housing, and such. And this is kind of the idea to just broaden that with a heavy focus on those unhoused individuals. I can take any questions. We can go on to the next.
And my apologies, Councilman Moore serves on that committee as well.
I do.
My apologies for not saying that.
I think this is certainly something we all need to get behind. I know you guys get calls about homeless folks like I do. This would help. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'm Shauna Stoff. I'm our Director of Community Impact at United Way. So it's been an honor to serve on the Homeless Action Committee, and really grateful to Councilwoman McKenzie and Councilman Moore for helping to push us along, and for our agencies that of course we partner with a lot. I want to give a little bit of context for what we're going to talk about today. As Officer Samples mentioned, all of this is recommendations coming from the Homeless Action Committee, multi-pronged approach, because we need multi-pronged solutions for this need. So a little bit of context, Bradley County Housing Coalition has been in existence since 2014. It's made up of 50 individuals representing over 30 agencies, churches, and community members who have a vested interest in stable housing. You're going to see here some priorities that the Housing Coalition has identified that aligns with the Homeless Action Committee, and particularly that first one, growing our prevention funds that we have in the community. And again, I want to give a little bit of context for the impetus of that recommendation, so that you all have that. So in 2025, we saw over $850,000 invested or in federal rental assistance distributed to local residents through local nonprofits. So oftentimes that's a one-time eviction prevention. Sometimes it's a deposit to get someone who's experiencing homelessness or housing instability into housing. A lot of these funds were COVID dollars that our community had received that were designed to hold the line and not make the problem worse, not make the instability deeper. But many of those have since dried up, or different priorities have been brought to the front. But as a result of having more funding, we actually saw a 5-year low of eviction rates. So in 2025, there was a 5-year low of eviction rates of 686, down from 1,010 in 2022. So what that tells us is having the funds help to keep people stably housed. We actually, in January, for our point in time count, saw a decrease in our number of individuals experiencing literal homelessness. So that tells us that having access to more prevention dollars, again, help families and households remain stably housed while also not creating a deeper issue, and more to be responded to in our community. But we have those COVID dollars that help to hold that line during a unique time. And since then, our community has changed. So since 2022, we've seen the cost of fair market rent in our community increase by 40%. So housing is more costly. It can be harder to find housing for individuals, especially those who might have limited income, or might have disabilities, or might have been experiencing chronic homelessness. And so as providers, this is the number one call that we often have to say no to, because there are very scarce resources when it comes to prevention funds at this time. Again, we've seen that prevention funds work. It was able to hold the line for a long time, but now that we don't have those funds and our community has changed, that line has become more fragile. And prevention dollars help to ensure that things don't escalate, with more individuals being faced with homelessness or unable to move out of housing, while other housing-related needs and other solutions that we've talked about are addressed and implemented. As we said, this is a multi-pronged approach across the continuum. Housing prevention is a proactive solution that strengthens the entire community, and we think we have an opportunity here to be able to, again, address the need as our community has changed, and as we've seen, we know that when families experience homelessness or households experience homelessness, they're more likely to experience homelessness again. And so we want to be able to prevent that. We want to be able to reduce the strain on CPD as we're all work together and keep that line from getting worse. And so I'm going to pass it off to Corinne Freeman to talk a little bit more about what this prevention fund could do and what that could look like in our community.
All right. So, we might sound a little bit like a broken record now, but I do want to just re-emphasize that the recommendations by the Homeless Action Committee of the City Council did have 5 full recommendations. So you are only hearing more in depth today about 2 of those. Do want to thank Officer Samples and the information she presented, because that opportunity of having more connection and increased support is a part of this approach. We at the Caring Place have worked often with their CIT officers, and that response is the better response of resources for those situations that warrant that. So what I want to kind of focus a little bit more on is the benefit of being able to have a homeless prevention fund. I realize at any time, as you should, when we are talking about dollars, you need to be really mindful of how those are being spent, because they're not your dollars, right? So they're for the benefit of our community. And so we bring this homeless prevention fund because we know that the evidence is there that this helps. This will help to kind of, as we continue to look at the growth plans for our community, as our partner, as Thrive mentioned today earlier, the presenter, we're growing. We're going to keep growing, but the housing cost is growing too. And it's putting home ownership out of reach for some, which is putting further strain on the rental market. The rental market cost is increasing, which is putting strain on families. So while we work to proactively plan and solve that full housing continuum, Homeless Prevention Fund helps prevent families from falling further back. We know that we are able to reduce rates of eviction, which means that if someone's not evicted, they're not having to move into a extended stay with a family of 4 and trying to maintain that because they lost their rental housing for a one-time disruption. What we know is that we are able to, through homeless prevention, be able to help a family hold stability and then regain and build those resources more. So we see a higher rate of return when we're able to do a prevention fund, as opposed to when we have a family that enters into homelessness and then is having to move into housing. That costs us more money. So homeless prevention is a better use of those dollars when we can do so. We know that what this will do, the rate of return, I want to put that kind of note to you. So this is information that we have found that for every dollar that you spend, you are getting back $4.84 within the community with this model. So you're being able to get a good return on investment of those dollars while not increasing things for the city police department to have to deal with, or for businesses to have to worry about, or for me, a family, having to look at not having a place to sleep that night. And that's the ultimate goal. We want to make sure that we're supporting families within that. There are a ton of positive impacts. Obviously, if you have a family who enters into homelessness, I don't know if any of you have had that experience, but it's obviously really stressful. It's really hard to not know where you're going to be that night. So having a resource that says, okay, there's a solution, there's people that I can work with to get back on my feet, to get back moving ahead, is going to be able to make it where those children have less trauma, those families have less trauma, our schools have better outcomes, our city has better outcomes. We take care of our families, then we're going to have a better community. So our opportunity that we are asking of you today is that you consider creating a line item within the city budget of a homeless prevention fund. Now you may think, well, why don't you just, both Sean and I are nonprofits, so why don't you guys just do that? The reason for that is that by having the city make this as a commitment within the line item, it helps to leverage more state and federal dollars. It helps to make sure that we have a dedicated way to be able to address this need within our community. Now, there's a variety of ways that can fall through for the city. The Action Committee has developed more information on that if you'd like it. That was provided in packets that you were given at the last meeting. But this is the opportunity for the city to say, you know what, we're going to work to hold the line, and we're going to be able to have this and have this intentionality within that. So that's where that recommendation comes from. How that is funded can be through a variety of sources. And again, that was provided more in depth in the package you were presented with at the last meeting. One of the other strategies this helps to leverage, and that was a recommendation by the Homeless Action Committee, was to be able to provide more technical support to organizations that are working with individuals and experiencing homelessness. We see that a lot. I actually work with a lot of folks. I get calls almost monthly that says, I just have a heart to work with people. What can I do? So being able to provide evidence-based information about the right types of approaches, being able to collaborate more with the city police department, the county sheriff's department, being able to work with them to look at best practice approaches is also part of that recommendation, and being able to provide some more technical support. So having this focus within what the city planning and management does will be able to more holistically address the concern of housing as we work to, again, end of the day, we have to have more housing that's more affordable, but that's a very complicated issue. So these are strategies that can help us hold the line and help families until we get there. So any questions for me, Shauna or Mr. Samples?
Vice Mayor?
Some of the statistics that you presented, such as the eviction numbers, what area did that cover? All of Bradley County? Or
It's all of Bradley County. So the state and federal resources that were utilized for that did not separate it out by city and county. And it's also a little hard to piece that apart. Not that I'm happy to go and try to dig down for that data for you, but the issue is that we might have a family that enters into homelessness in the city, but finds a more affordable rental in the county, and vice versa.
I was just curious.
Yeah, so there's a lot of transition between the two districts within that.
Thank you.
Councilman Estes.
Okay, question. What are the three other areas?
Trying my best.
We see police officers, we see a dedicated budget line. You said there are three other
There are.
recommendations.
Yeah,
Can
so-
you just list them real quick.
I will, and I'm going to defer to Dustin if I get anything wrong. So one was looking at the establishment of investigating further becoming a COC through the Housing and Urban Development Agency. Currently, we are part of a regional COC, which is
Since it's part of your
Chattanooga.
presentation, you have to answer it.
It's not, so today, so I can, we were just going over our section, so. So it was the COC, the Homeless Prevention Fund, an expansion of the City Police Department's response, the shelter, the Empowerment Center, which is still in progress, and then that technical assistance and collaboration, which really helps to focus more on churches and outreach groups being able to have a more unified response.
Do you differentiate the homeless population?
Say that one more time.
Do you differentiate the homeless population? Those that choose to be versus those that want help?
We do not, because that can change in a moment's notice. Would
not your remedies be different?
It is. So the response is individualized. And so if we haven't, and that's part of where I'm bringing along the judicial system within that, to reduce the the recidivism of individuals who are not choosing to engage with resources, but are continually engaging with law enforcement. There's some strategies that they can utilize through those opportunities there with the district attorney to be motivated and required as part of their ongoing work to engage in resources. I don't want to get in the legal terms there because I am not the attorney. So, yeah.
So let me tell you what I heard today.
Okay.
Officer samples come up. That's one population.
Mm-hmm.
I hear your presentation. That's a whole different kettle of fish.
They overlap a lot.
I don't see that.
We do see that. So we do serve a lot of those.
See that.
Yeah.
When you put that out to us,
Mm-hmm.
help us see that.
So part of what that would look like.
Just in the report. We don't have to take it up today.
Okay.
It's important, I think, that all of us.
What I'll do some data. I'll pull some of those numbers and kind of show how that interrelation works, and what some of the factors and barriers are on those populations too.
Are you asking any other, like the county for a line item as well?
The recommendation, because this was part of the city's ad hoc commission, does not include that as of now. However, that would be our recommendation.
With the transitional housing piece that's coming up.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Fiscal year 29 or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any luck on finding property for that?
I can defer to Dustin on that one to see if there's any additional updates.
It's still work in progress. Sorry, Mary, thanks.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
I will say that in the meetings, it was apparent that not always does it overlap, but it does overlap.
More frequently than not.
I think Jennifer can even attest to this, that sometimes when y'all are dealing with homeless people and the courts, then the carrying place and maybe they're involved, that y'all work together. So it does overlap. It's not just always this group over here.
Now, I would say to clarify further, and thank you, Councilwoman McKenzie, on that, to further clarify, homeless prevention would not necessarily be the solution for somebody who's currently experiencing homelessness. That response is rapid rehousing. So that is why I think that distinction might be not as clear, is because somebody who's currently experiencing homelessness, we can't prevent eviction or can't prevent it because it's already happened. So the response is different.
This goes back maybe 2 or 4 years. I can't remember the window when we put the 15 points together and started down that road. And just the two officers working, sociologists almost, social workers, has been one man's opinion, one man, an N of one. Wow.
Mm-hmm. It does make a
And
difference.
the changes that have come in the last 15, I'd like to see that continue.
Yes.
Help us be clear in what you give us.
Gotcha. Okay, so we'll make some clarifications on that and provide that in the documents.
All right.
It's a good question, Bill.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
I'm curious, how do they come up with a return on investment?
Charlie, do you know which side data? I can speak a little bit to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's social costs, so other programming that families might need to access were they to experience an eviction is what that is based upon. It's data from programming out of Chattanooga for eviction prevention and also representation within court as well, is how some of the factors that go into that. But primarily that is based on like the social costs, social services cost that the family would not have to access if they are able to stay in their home versus being evicted, and then what comes from there as far as their needs. Does that?
Yes, thank you. And then how long do you track someone who you've helped to see if and when they do get evicted after you've provided them support?
Typically at least 6 months that they're like engaging in programming, and then typically up to a year now. And then if a family comes back and is like, oh, we helped them before, then we'll track that if it was several years ago. But that is kind of best practice in how many organizations who serve individuals who are moving out of homelessness or who received eviction prevention are tracked. And all of that is also in Charity Check, which many of our agencies use to see when a family may have access to eviction prevention and if they might be eligible for those services again.
Okay.
And the current rate on that for us at the Caring Place, the current rate on that, that 96% of our families do retain housing.
Okay. And then my last question is, what's the average time that most of the organizations are able to help someone with their eviction? Because the largest complaint that I've heard is that it takes too long.
So, in terms of being able to ask for the funding, it takes typically, it's about a 3-week window. Other agencies might have that slightly different. But the reason for that is that we do have to have that individual come in and assess for eligibility, create the plan, and then go through the payment process. So it's about a 3-week window at minimum. It can be longer if the documents aren't there or things like that. We also do know that typically evictions are not sudden, so there's a notice given. So there's time within that notice prior to court to access those services if the family reaches out early enough.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Corinne, explain if you would please, why when someone becomes homeless, that we've passed the prevention and they're homeless now, they can't just automatically be housed, even for the night. Kind of explain that if you would please.
Well, it's just
other than going to the emergency shelter.
Yeah, it's just capacity. There's just not housing. I mean, that's just. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not a complicated answer. There's not housing for them to go to.
There's not housing, and if you were to do it, then I think the way you explained it to me, it has to be longer than one night. Plus, you have to make sure they're fed. And
in reference to if we were hotel housing, yes, yeah. So it is more difficult to move it and more expensive to move a family into a temporary hotel sheltering. So, so we want. That's why the recommendation is always that we want the experiences to be very rare. We don't want them to happen a lot, and we want them to be brief when they do. The brief part is that second part of planning and developing of housing, because the current timeline for housing navigation is a minimum of about 120 days. Is that what she's averaging?
Within 3 months. 3 months. Our housing navigators here could speak to that a little bit more. Olivia, do you know what your average is right now?
Yeah, so about 90 days is our average.
Okay.
So we are prioritizing those families that do have stable income because our funds are a little low with what we can assist with. So normally we're helping them first with rent deposit and maybe an additional month and connecting them out to other resources.
And the best practices does you want to get someone housed within 30 days, but with the housing that we have, with the cost that we have, that's not often what we're able to do as far as when we're talking about rapid rehousing, getting someone connected to housing with limited income.
Yeah.
All right. Any additional comments or questions?
Yes, Mayor. I did not mention the emergency shelter.
Certainly.
Because we have previously voted on,
Yeah.
A new emergency shelter. But I did visit the emergency shelter and they do a fantastic job over there. Bradley Cleveland Services Agency, they do a fantastic job. They work as well.
Demetrius, she's bragging on you.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
This man can almost preach, and I told him he could have been a preacher, but he does a fantastic job at the emergency shelter. And I know he's looking forward to a new one, which we all are.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be a big help. And again, he works very well with United Way and the Caring Place. They just have an excellent working operation.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's become very apparent. Here in Cleveland, y'all work really good together.
Yeah.
As well as the police department. They're part of that too.
They are.
And both of these programs that they're talking about, they work together on these programs. These are not just individual, I'm out here and we're doing this over here. They work together. They're going to bring this all under one house.
Bishop Ramsey, in Nashville, when your name is called, you are eligible to speak. So,
Thank you. I just wanted to add one thing to your question, Councilman Goff, that could impact the wait being so long. We typically rely on federal funds when we are trying to prevent evictions, and the timing of receiving the reimbursements for those funds can be a good while. So that if our budgets, if we don't have the ready available cash, we're relying on those reimbursements from the state to come in, and when they're slow or when they're lagging, that makes that wait a little longer. Just need to keep that in mind. So that's the beauty of this fund that we are presenting to you all. That would help us quite a bit, reduce the amount of time that a family is waiting.
Vice Mayor?
Mayor, I was just going to say that I think one really good thing that has come out of this is all these agencies working together and eliminating duplication of services, because I know it has occurred in the past. And I think we're headed down a really good path on this. I don't know what the outcome will be, but the fact that all these agencies are working together, I think is very promising.
Agreed, Vice Mayor, and thank you all. Thank you, Councilwoman McKenzie and Councilman Moore, for your service on this organization and this ad hoc committee. I'm very thankful for the updates that you gave us today and recommendations. Thank you. Looks like it takes us to item E on special presentations, which is downtown strategic planning. Mr. Fivas.
I have good news and bad news, Mr. Mayor and City Council. We're going to put off the downtown presentation when we have a little bit more time, because we have a little celebration that we have to do between meetings, and we don't want to cut that short for that. But we also have a long agenda to go over. First of all, I want to give a lot of credit to all the Councilwoman McKenzie and Councilman Moore, and all the participation. They've met, frequently, and when they have meetings, they get into that, and they work on solving problems, and I just give them a lot of credit. And I think Vice Mayor Webb said it correctly, is that just having everyone at the table talking about the stuff is always beneficial and helpful. I'm glad you mentioned that, Demetrius, because we did that tour, and it was really eye-opening on a lot of issues, and we probably should at some point schedule something that everyone can have an opportunity to go visit. I think it's important to see the facility. The city actually owns that emergency shelter, and I think it would be beneficial. With that being said, we do have, it's the last meeting for Councilwoman McKenzie. You're welcome to come back anytime, and we'll give you an honorary chair and do that. But it's been a pleasure from the staff standpoint of working with you. You've always been eager to learn and just always helpful when other staff have questions, and it's I think echoing through a lot of the people that have interacted with you. They just thought it was just a great pleasure for you to be on council, and they're a little sad that you're leaving us, but I'm sure, just think of all the free time that you'll have. And I'm sure the council would agree that we would probably still want you involved in the homeless action committee and carry it across the finish line and get to where we need to go. So besides having some cupcakes and stuff in the back that we'll go to between the meetings, we have a couple things for you. The one thing Marcia said, she said, and I'm really violating her rule, she said, I do not want a party. I don't want anyone to say anything. So we've already passed that, but she said that she wanted to get her 5-year placard, and so I can set this up there, and we'll have you come and take a picture in a moment.
Thank you.
So that just denotes that you have your five years of service. And then we have to honor. We've done this with all the past council members. We have a memento for you from the city council for your service and the long hours and the calls and all that. We have a crystal gavel that we're not going to let you use.
Thank you very much.
So that can go on your mantle. You can use that. But there's more. There's more.
The gift that keeps giving.
That's right.
I'm not going to pull this one out. One, during COVID, we lost your husband, who was Councilman Charlie McKenzie, and we were not able to get one of these. So we have, I'm not going to, you're there, but you'll have one for Charlie, the same thing, and one for yourself, so your family can have that for forever.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And this is always bittersweet. The sweetness is now that you don't have to deal with us anymore.
No, I'm going to miss everybody. I'm not going to miss all the decisions, but I'm going to miss everybody.
But anyway, do you want to make some statements? And
Not right now. I'll do it when we go down the list. I'll do it then.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, anything?
I just want to say this.
And let the record know, I wanted to do this before I hit you with another killer PowerPoint. So we wanted to get everyone fresh.
Since Joe has already violated her request to not say anything, at great risk, I will tell you that Miss Marcia's truly only request was to receive that 5-year employee recognition. We normally give these out in February of each year, so we're scheduled to honor all the folks that are here in February of 27. But Marcia's request was not simply, I want something to take home. She said, Mayor, I just want to put my 5-year service next to Charlie's 5-year service.
10 years. His was 10 years.
And I just can't think of a more appropriate thing for us to honor her work and honor her husband's work and truly the legacy of service of your family for an entire generation. And Marcia, it's just such a pleasure to serve with you.
Thank you.
And you are truly a very special part of not just this council, but of the family of Cleveland and the fabric of Cleveland. And I didn't want this opportunity to pass us without me being able to publicly say that to you. Anybody else? Any other council comments before we go eat cupcakes? Vice Mayor.
Marcia, we are going to miss you. And I want to mention something that you were very instrumental in finding a solution for. And that was the tire issue.
It's true.
Yeah. I remember one cold February morning at Fort Hill Cemetery. We were picking up old tires that had been illegally dumped. And there's Marcia with about 3 or 4 coats on. And she's working harder than anybody in that cold weather and that cold wind. But because of you, the laws all over the state of Tennessee changed in dealing with illegal tire dumping. And we're forever indebted for that, amongst everything else that you've done. Thank you.
Good words.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Congratulations.
So Joe, you have indicated, we've got to eat cupcakes between meetings. We've still got your manager's report and review of the agenda, and as Marcia said, reports of council members. How do you want to proceed with what we have yet to do and what you would like to do?
Let's go over the agenda, and I just saved you a 45-minute presentation on the downtown.
Thank you.
So
I would have cut it.
I will get through the agenda. There's a little bit of a PowerPoint, but we will make it as painless as possible. As we want to transition, and then we should have a good 20 minutes to celebrate, 25 minutes, if that works for you, Mr. Mayor.
It does.
First item that we want to talk about is that we have established the grand opening of Tinsley Park, which is November 7th, 8 to 1. The timing is tentative. We're looking for not just a ribbon cutting. We're looking at having a whole number of activities. Playing some softball, probably playing some, or maybe having a 5K race, maybe having some type of dog event, pickleball, and so we'll have a full day of celebration for that day. The next thing I wanted to update you for the Events and Aquatic Center. We've received applications for proposals for the contractor and the architects. We received 12 of them, and we're going through scoring those, and we'll get the council involved in that coming up in a future meeting. We have top companies from all over the country, and we're just trying to find the best fit for us, and working to do that. So happy to share any of that information with the council if anyone wants to look at that. Want to spend some time talking about the reimagination of the Cleveland's recreation and sports tourism. Some of this is just kind of the greatest hits, and I'm not going to spend too much time. It's going over some of our past projects. I think it's important to celebrate what we have accomplished, but it also looks back and brings back a lot of memories that, for the last 10 years, we've been really focused on Parks and Recreation. For me, and some people will say, why do you think Parks and Recreation is so important? Is because it's really the front door of your community. It's your curb appeal when people come, and whether you're a business or whether you are looking to move here in your personal capacity, people will generally go and visit schools, and they'll go and look at what your parks are. Even if they never intend to go to those parks, they just go and look and see about kind of what you have going on from a recreation lifestyle. And I think that sells the community are a lot of those public spaces. So we've embarked on a 10-year strategic direction in looking at the Parks and Recreation. We've accomplished a lot. I'm going to go through that very quickly in a moment. But there's still some items to do and to be focused on coming up over the next 5 years. Go through this. Why are parks strong? I kind of gave you my perception. Probably the main thing is parks provide health benefits to our community. They involve having collaboration among community members, and they also help with making neighborhoods more hospitable to each other. And there's also data that shows that they actually reduce crime of having active places where people can go out and hang. And probably most importantly is the economics is that for every dollar you spend in Parks and Recreation, you usually get about a $3 to $4, depending on what study you look at, boost in your economy. So 10 years of investment, I probably think, in looking at a lot of communities, is that we probably have the best set of parks, especially our community parks that we've focused on. We've came a long way from where we are, from where we started our opportunity. And basically, over the next 10 years, we need to focus on parks maintenance, sports tourism. Basically, we need to have systems where we can let visitors pay for some of our great amenities. We need to look at some of our athletic facilities, and we need to improve the active and passive programming for all ages. The first park that we'll look at is Greenway Park. We have not seen that. That's been announced. There's a $3.6 million investment that's going to happen, and you have a new skate park, and you have the new splash pad with a new playground, along with other replacing the workout amenities along the Greenway. We have some down by Tinsley Park. We'll probably take many of those out, and they'll be replaced by the grant. And that should probably, we're still tweaking the design with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we're certainly they're a great partner and trying to come up with the best design that fits our needs. The last 10 years, the soccer complex lights have been put in place, and probably in the next month after the Akoi Cup, we'll probably start and start with the turf renovation there, of putting in our artificial turf, which allows for more use, especially at during rainy weather, and having more options that when it's wet, you really can't play sometimes. Next one is our Cleveland Nature Park. If you've been out to Free Will Road, that you'll see that we've put in a new parking place. You know, we had a little pull-off area that was extremely dangerous for people to park in there, and so that is done. It just needs to be paved, and we'll follow that up with replacing some segments along the pathway there, and make it into a nature park. What our goal is being able to have schools, if you have a 4th or 5th grade class, that they can go to this nature park and have a unit on birds. There's all kinds of birds. It's basically a kind of a bog, wetland out there. We'll build some walkways out into the water, which is allowed, and that those classes can go, working with the Cleveland City Schools and probably Bradley as well, is that you can have, if you want to go look at plant species or whatever, is that you can park the bus and spend a couple hours working at that. So that's started with the parking lot, with more to come. We've accomplished Sharp Park. We had a wonderful presentation. I've already been criticized today on that the picture is all distorted, that the child looks like they're about 6 inches tall. But it's just a great opportunity for the residents in that area.
It was full about 2 hours ago.
So people are coming back yet.
People are coming back.
When it was hot the last few months, we were debating whether we should do the parking. And as you know, if you've been out there, that we have expanded that parking lot to include, I think, a total of 50 spaces. And that will carry over for a lot of Candy's Greenway use and also the park use. When we get the Fletcher connector, when you can walk between Fletcher and there, we think the use is going to explode, and we think that just almost any Saturday afternoon you have 25 cars there just with any parties. So I think that the parking is already put in, just waiting to be paid.
Joe, I'd like to also thank Mr. Ray for his donation for that, extending that parking lot.
Yes, yes, and it's on our list to honor him and to do something for that. Probably when we get the parking lot all paved and nice, and we'll do something for him. But he did make a donation to the community, allowing us to have that parking, and it's really kind of going to make the area be really special.
And he upgraded that bridge to go across too.
He did. Yes. Tinsley Park, you have the pickleball complex, and you have the tennis courts, 2 separate projects. And as you know, it looks fabulous out there. I mean, it just is really just going to be drop dead gorgeous when it's all done. They've started putting the turf out there with some of the curbing around the turf areas. That will be a huge boon to get not only tournaments like they used to be, but we're also talking to Cleveland City Schools about their fields. Is if you have those 3 fields and then the fields at Cleveland City Schools, is that you can probably bring in some tournaments and during the summertime and do some softball or Little League baseball. Johnston Park, what do we need to say about that? It's just drop dead gorgeous, and it's really it's been around for a very short time, but it's really taken iconic status. It's been maintained pretty well and care of. Candy's Greenway Trail, we built the 1.5-mile trail back there, and we had private donations that contributed a decent amount of that project. We also built as you see, the bridge, the Dobbs Ford Bridge. And so that was a separate project in and of that self. And certainly, as we walk back there all the time, it's one of the most beautiful vistas that I think you have in the city walking through there. And Mosby Park is a pocket park or a community park that is holding up pretty well with the new renovations that they had there. And I think that the swimming pool remains probably our most active swimming pool, and it's just a great asset in the summer. Civitan Inclusive Park, as you see, we saw a report the other day that some community said that they have the largest inclusive park in Tennessee. And so we went online and measured it, and ours is still the biggest inclusive park. But we're not gonna make a press release on that.
Oh, let's do it.
And but the attention that we have in there and that inclusive park really serves a lot of residents. It's families that may have one child that has some level of disability that they can all go and play, and it's just a great park all the way around for a lot of things that you do. Disc golf course, if you've been out there, I happen to live in that area, and it has transformed Fletcher Park. When I would go walk in there in the mornings, there'd be 4 to 5 cars there parked in right when it gets dark, and just people sitting in their cars. And it made a lot of people feel uncomfortable. The culture there with the disc golf players have really transformed that park, and it's just a really wonderful amenity. We have in the budget, as you know, to fix some of the walkways that are getting a little old, and there's some of the paths are kind of low lying, and they get wet and they stay wet for a couple days, and there's several other things that we'll fix with that.
And the county liked it so much they built their own.
They did.
How about that?
I think it's the 5th rated disc golf course in Tennessee.
In the world, I heard.
In the world, we'll take that.
In the largest inclusive.
United States.
In the largest inclusive park.
Avery Johnson Park, as we just keep on going, all the wonderful things that you guys have accomplished. The golf or the dog park, the field. We probably need, in part of our reimagination plan, we need to think about potentially getting turf out there to drive more use out there. We probably need to get, when we do that, have turf at Shepherd Field as well. Because we spend so much energy and money and time in every year rehabbing all of the turf, that if you do the cost benefit analysis of not having to put your chemicals down, of not having to mow it every week, just like we found in the golf course, or not the golf course, but the soccer complex, is there's that the money, it starts to have a break-even point, that's just a good investment, because the costs have come down on turf to where it's not crazy. It was about $1 million. I think Cleveland High School spent $850 on theirs. The 2 fields that we're putting out cost about $600,000. So the costs are coming down, which makes it more competitive. So that's something that we need to really pay attention to. Deer Park, can't forget about that. That was one of the first parks we did. I mean, it's still in all the catalogs for Game Time as far as being an iconic park. It just with the natural trees and the creek, it's really special. The Castile Connector, we got that, which added a whole new direction and level for the Greenway. Blythe Oldfield, this is actually one of my favorite parks in the community. I think the design is really special, and it just fits in with that neighborhood, and I think this went a long way of transforming that neighborhood. If you go out to this little turf field that I think we got some grants and all that stuff. I think we spent $30,000 or $40,000 of city money for this turf field. But if you go out there most any night, there's as many people as you can count, and it's heavily used. South Cleveland Pool, that was replaced not too long ago. And any questions on what we have done, or any questions? All right. Well, let's talk about our 10 goals for the next 5 years, and I'm going to go through these pretty quick. Is that construction of the indoor events and aquatic center? At the last meeting, I talked about that, so I'm not going to go through that in great detail. Need to continue to upgrade the fields out at the soccer complex. We're looking at redoing the parking lots and putting in some lighting and just having some additional parking are all things that we're looking at doing. And I think this is a really important one, is that I think we all need to work together to kind of reimagine how College Hill and South Cleveland, how they function within their communities. I think that I've had a number of conversations with Demetrius and Lawrence, and I've talked to Kez and Michelle and Eric and about some of the needs of the community. Is we think it needs to be more of a gathering place instead of it is maybe look at and make it a place that do some investment on the interior, make it so it has a lobby that people can go and get coffee and hang out and just kind of be a community type center that people can just go there and break bread and see friends and do that. But more importantly is that we need to change the hours and find a way that we can really focus on our key groups of not necessarily being open 8 to 5, and they're open in some evenings for sure. But we need to really tailor our time and how it operates during those times where you have the kids are after school. I remember Parks and Recreation growing up at a different time, but we would go to the park and they'd have Parks and Recreation and they would have some programs, they would play some games, they would do some stuff. We just think that having more of that mentoring type relationships and really start with programming and working on other programs for older adults and just really rethink how that works. I think instead of it really being focused on athletics, we need to just change how it's perceived in the communities in both those areas, and we'll be working with the stakeholders to do that. So I think that's really dynamic and interesting. Construction of the community park in District 4. I think we've hit every park. We have been looking at parcels of land and trying to find the right place. As you know, we have a great deal of growth out in the 4th District, especially Durkee and some of those areas out there along Michigan Avenue, is that we probably need some amenities. We don't have any amenities out there. So I think that's an important one that we need to knock out.
Joe?
Yes, sir.
Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah.
This is just me for sitting on the planning commission. I'm sure Robert will have his insight as well. I love the neighborhood parks. And when we require green space for a PUD, it's a pavilion, maybe a picnic table. There's nothing wrong with requiring an actual playground of the developer in that green space if we're going to give them 46-foot frontages. No rear loading, something like that. Because when I think about the parks in the neighborhood, Blythe, Civitan, Deer, those are powerful communities where driving, we have to put 50 spaces at
Jim Sharp.
Yeah. It's a different vibe. And I know, hey, I live next to Deer Park. Most people there are not from the neighborhood. They drive there. I get that, because of, for whatever reason, whatever age. It seems to be more of a younger age. So I'm just throwing that out. Maybe when we negotiate these large tracts of land that are wanting PUDs and coming in, instead of just a pavilion where I see people walking their dogs, because I go out there and I look at these now, and that's what they do. That's all it is walking dogs, and that's it for the green space. Having a park might make that development that much better.
We agree.
Okay. So we can require that. It just takes moxie.
You just community park at Whirlpool. We had the opportunity to visit Unity Park in Greenville with many council members, and we really see that this Whirlpool Park can have similar feel to that. What's really interesting is that it's a community park, but you see on the right side is also had a lot of businesses right along it, built into the park, kind of like where you have the old woolen mill. And it kind of has this really cool history type feel. And you can kind of see some of the amenities. So so I think that, I think that that was kind of a model that we've been looking at. Construction of the Fletcher connector, of connecting the Fletcher Park with Candy's Creek Greenway. Construction of the Starbucks connector. We are close, aren't we, Robert? He left. He knew I was going to ask that. He tells me that we're getting very close. The Harrison Pike connector is, if you can connect from, and we have all the property we need from Fletcher Park all the way down Harrison Pike to where the gas station is on West Side Drive. We just have that one gap. If we can figure out that gap, then we could have 14 miles of continuous greenway, and I think that that would be a great accomplishment for all of us. Then we have the Hardwick Farms, 140 acres that they've going to dedicate to the city to do greenway and connect that in with other amenities. And then I'm not sure what that is. Conceptual plan for entertainment district and downtown performing arts. Any questions on our 10 that we have?
Any questions from the council?
I'll go through the agenda really quick. We have a public hearing, 6A, hear comments from Bassam Issa. Basically, he's adding, he's working on a retail mixed-use development there. And he's adding 0.34 to that. Item 6B is to have a public hearing, hear a request from Barry Payne to allow PUD 55. What he took over this development. The request that he asked was to average all of the lots to 46. He's going to have some that are smaller, and he's going to have some that are a little bit bigger, but the average is there. Item 6C, to hear requests from Habitat for Humanity. This is a 40 lot wide family lots. Staff's recommendation is to keep it at an average of 46. That will be something that the council will probably discuss. 6D, here public comments, Rex Wagner for a plan of service resolution of 0.5 acres on Old Georgetown Road. 6E is to hear public comments concerning a request of the city of Cleveland to annex plan of service resolution to annex an ordinance for 109 acres, and essentially that's Waterville Golf Course. And to hear public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request on Broad Street, Methodist Street to abandon an alleyway. And we don't have any issues with that, and I think that it's probably a good idea to be able to control all the property in there. Those are the public hearings that we have in front of us. Again, the mayor made an announcement. He'll make it at 3 o'clock. We do not have the Lower River Road annexation on the agenda today. 7A, authorizing the mayor to sign an interlocal agreement with Bradley County for annexation of property owned by Steve Williams and Aaron Ware. Located on Dalton Pike. And then you have item B, which is the zoning ordinance to do that. We've talked about this before. One of the questions that the council had was that they asked to have a utility agreement with Cleveland Utilities. They have worked diligently to do that, and CU has worked diligently as well. They basically are in agreement. One of the issues that they have not agreed on is that the applicant, and they'll probably talk about this, would like some boring done at a couple county roads that are in there. We think that Cleveland Utility should take that on and do the boring. They have the boring equipment. We would recommend that to be part of the decision, and you guys can ask questions or you may have questions now. And if Cleveland Utilities decide they didn't want to do that, it's a fairly easy, low-cost item that the city would just go out and do it if Cleveland Utilities decided not to do that. That would solve the impasse, and they're investing $1.5 million in or more in the infrastructure. Cleveland Utilities will make about $1.4 million in tap fees on the property, not to mention fiber fees and electric and some of those fees. So there's a lot of benefit, not to mention on the south side, there's 6 or 7 retail locations that they're building along with which they, I think, have some people signed up for the retail. And so they're just waiting, getting ready to go. Happy to address any questions on there. Authorizing application for a downtown improvement grant, authorizing the city to participate, public entity partners matching grant, bid for drainage pipe, change orders for the Croxville Construction. They're the ones that are doing the work at Tinsley. They are putting stone on the dugouts. Basically, there's 4. And then there's a minor change order for Baseline Sports, which is installing the turf out there.
Joe, I have a question.
Yes.
On the cross construction,
Yeah.
were the dugouts not included in the original bid? It's a pretty large change order.
They were not included.
Okay, so we changed.
Yeah.
We had added that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Honestly, we had a different design, and this design will have more aesthetics, and it was actually more efficient to do it this way. So. Master Intergovernmental Cooperative Agreement, you have this in front of you, basically just allows us to partner and do that. Item I, 7I, authorizing a facility management agreement with Sports Facilities Management for the golf course and other facilities. I can talk more about that.
Can we put that one on new business? I'm gonna have a lot of questions on that one.
Yes.
Thank
you. We have the reappointments of several airport authority, health and education facilities, Board of Zoning Appeals, Board of Adjustment and Appeals, several.
Those people reside in the city, not just have voting rights, but actually reside.
I believe they all live they're all current members that have been reappointed, and I don't know if any of them that have moved out.
It might be worth looking at.
Move on.
Thanks.
Then the zoning new business, we'll recommend taking the.
Joe, before we move on to that, would this be an appropriate time to make a motion for an appointment on a board? Or would I need to put that under?
Yeah, do it at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you have item 10, all through, and pretty much all that stuff is stuff that we went over. So that's my report, Mr. Mayor, with moving the one item to the business, and we can talk about there, and I have a presentation to give a little bit on that.
All right, so we can have that one item moved, item 7I, to new business. Requested by Councilman Goff. I think that concludes. We have barely enough time for celebratory cupcakes. If we agree to move the reports of council to 3 o'clock.
Yes.
All in favor? We are adjourned to celebrate